flood waters in the Yamuna caused by heavy rainfall across North India, stretching from Himachal all the way to Delhi. You admit that we need to get better prepared for this because it could happen next year, it could happen every year. Is it possible for the 3 governments to sit together or the 4 governments to sit together of North India and work it out? Because I'll give you the example of pollution. Every year, as you know, what happens, in the months of October and November, we haven't got a plan in place that has brought all the governments together. Now, unless the governments are willing to sit across, are willing to prioritize this, is there a sense that you will have to prioritize the climate emergency and find ways in which flood control can be achieved? Maybe setting up, as you said, reservoirs if necessary, but you cannot have a situation like this happening every year now.
No, absolutely, I agree. And if you were to see, Rajdeep, in the last 3 to 4 days, there has been seamless coordination between the states. There has been absolutely seamless coordination, not just with the states, but with the central government also. NDRF has been working with the disaster management units in Delhi seamlessly. Today, if you were to actually go into one of the evacuation areas, if you were to go into the relief camps, you would not know who is working for the Delhi administration, who is working for the NDRF, because there is a combined effort.
No, that's
not just that. It is not just the state government, even with Haryana. We have been in constant touch with Haryana. So I'm saying that, see, so Rajdeep, let's look at it one thing at a time. We have faced an acute climatic condition for the first time in 40 years, number one. During this entire crisis, there has not been one instance where there has been any fight between Delhi and Haryana, between Delhi and the central government. We have been in touch with the Central Water Commission every day. We have been in touch with the Met Department. We have been in touch with Haryana. We have been in touch with Irrigation Department of Haryana, Irrigation Department of UP. Let me tell you, you won't even know this, but all the barrages in the Yamuna that today are being worked upon to make sure that there is not a single stoppage of water, Irrigation Flood Control Department from Delhi, the Indian Army, NDRF, Haryana, everyone is working together seamlessly to ensure that this situation gets solved as soon as possible. So let me assure you that everyone has been working together, because at the end of the day, it is the interests of the people of Delhi that are most important. In fact, I would even like to thank the people of Delhi. So many people have come forward to help in the relief camps.
Ma'am, I ask you, how will you prevent it next time? Since you've accepted an inevitability, given the situation as it exists today, how do we prevent it tomorrow?
I think there's several things that need to be done. Yes. I think several things need to be done. First of all, I think there is definitely a lot of data in our system regarding climate patterns, satellite data, regarding water flows, etc. I think definitely some kind of special purpose vehicle needs to be set up for North India to understand this, to be able to predict the amount of rains that are likely to happen, because we do have data coming in from multiple sources. So I think that is number one, because I think that is what will be predictive in terms of when the weather patterns can create this problem. Number two, now we do know the fact that this kind of intense rainfall will happen. Of course, all states will have to divert their budgets to creating even greater embankments, barrages, etc., which of course will take away money from development works that could have been done elsewhere. But now that we know that we are facing this kind of potential weather emergencies, climate emergencies, all states will have to divert some of their funds to ensure that we can have preventive, be it barrages, be it reservoirs, be it diversions, bigger embankments, etc. So working with engineers and working with environmentalists at the same time to ensure that we can have the best possible protection even against climatic
So are you giving me an assurance in conclusion that this will be prioritized, that over the next year this issue of a climate emergency will be top of the mind? Because we've seen it, it's never been an election issue. It needs to perhaps be put top of your at least policy agenda now. There are lakhs of people who live along the banks of the Yamuna who are suffering now every year.
No, there's Rajdeep, there is I can definitely say that we have never shirked away from things that are not election issues. Till Aam Aadmi Party came to power in Delhi, education was never an election issue. Government schools were never an election issue. Government primary health centers, mohalla clinics were never an election issue. But if something needs to be done, it needs to be done. And given the fact that the safety of the people of Delhi is under question here, this is something that we will definitely prioritize.
May I just ask you also in conclusion, are you hopeful that the worst is over? Given the fact that rains have slightly receded in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, even in the hills?
No, I know we are quite hopeful also because almost from 1 p.m. today, water levels do not seem to be rising. I think that the worst in terms of the amount of water that came from Hathni Kund to the Yamuna river in Delhi, most of that seems to have passed through. So water levels have stabilized. Hopefully through the night they might even start coming down. Let us, I think at this point of time, hope that in the next couple of days we don't have heavy rains, because if heavy rains come even with a gap of a few days, at least this entire water would have flown further down the Yamuna and we would have more bandwidth to deal with any surge in the river.